folks, Dee here from Dee's Crafted Cards. I want to show you how to make this cool background using just a few items, giving it an appearance of a nighttime spooky background. We'll go from this to this. Let's get started. Here's what I'm using to create this nighttime background. I'm using a cold press 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Inks in Faded Jeans, Chipped Sapphire, Black Soot, Dusty Concord, and Wilted Violet. You'll need a spray bottle, Spellbinders Paper Arts Mister. This one has a very, very fine mist. You could use anything you have, but the smaller the droplets of water, the easier it'll be to make it. I'm also using my own concoction of 91% rubbing alcohol and some Pearl X in a very light blue. You could also use clear. I just mix them together. The trick is finding the right bottle that will let it come through sprayer without clogging it up. So you have to play around with that. But otherwise, you can make your own for very little. I am using Spellbinders Sparkle Silk in a clear, and they're gold. Sparkle Silk. I'm using a sponge for, kind of blending. I will need to use my heat gun to dry in between, but I'll show you how I do that. Let's get started. First off, watercolor paper. I'm going to use the black. This is called the smushing technique, I believe. And this technique has been around forever, probably as long as I have been around, maybe longer. And I'm old. I'm going to put a light mist. I'm going to dab my cold pressed paper gently, a little bit more. You're going to want to use your heat gun to dry your paper. It just has a better effect if you dry in between. If not, it'll become a big muddy mess and you won't really get the definition of the colors in between. So I always start out with the darker colors first. I'm going to use a chipped sapphire. Same thing. Dab this in. Let it kind of swirl. That gives it a cool effect. Nothing will go to waste. You can use it all up. You can do a couple at one time and just have them ready for your next project. Just move your heat gun slowly. You don't want to burn your paper. You're just trying to dry up the wet. Now I'm going to use Faded Jeans. So we're starting to get that nighttime cloudy look. Cool. Nice. Looks good. I'm gonna finish up on this second sheet. And back to your heat gun. By the way, I'm using a silicone sheet to smush on, but you could use anything you have. You could use plastic wrap, an old plastic from a package, anything will work. Anything that's not gonna soak through to your table. Now I'm gonna use the Dusty Concord. Going very lightly on the water. I don't want to saturate the paper. I'm just swirling around that color. Let it drip. See, it's getting a little wetter. That was a little bit heavy-handed on the water. Nice. Are you seeing that Halloween vibe yet? It's coming through. Okay, and then my last one is Wilted Violet. I think Tim Holtz has some new purples out there that I'd like to get. It's a very light color. Smush that around to the outside. And I'm going to dry off my sheet. This is when you have to be careful not to transfer it onto your white cardstock, your backgrounds. Okay, dry it again. And now I'm going to show you how to fill in these little white spots. I'm using a sea sponge, but I think any sponge would work. I'm just going to take whatever color I think needs to be the background, and in this case I think I'm going to go with the chipped sapphire. Just going to smush a little in here. Soak it up with my sponge, and then dab onto the white sponge. Okay, we're done with that. I'm going to wipe up again just to be sure I didn't leave any behind. And now this is where you can either use a splatter box. I use an old coffee box, nothing fancy. put my project inside, and then I will splatter. Take up your sparkle silk and then just flick. I'm using the clear. Turn your project every now and then so you get even coverage. The sparkle silk will make it look like there's stars in the sky, in the nighttime sky. Okay, we'll see how this looks. Starting to look good. Now let's use some gold back in the splatter box. Shake up my gold. And splatter. Flick. The further away you are from your project, the smaller the splatter. And then finally, I will use my homemade Burlix to give it an all over sparkly background. And now I will just use a heavy weight on top. See, what do you think? Too much gold? I can add a little more sparkle silk. In the meantime, I'm going to put a heavy weight on it. Something to little make it flatten out just a bit so it won't be so hard to attach to your card. Give that a few minutes to dry and I'll be right back. So this is how it looks after it's been pressed down, allowed to dry. I added the hills. It still could use a little more flattening, so I'll probably weight it down. But no two will ever look the same. You'll just practice until you figure out how to use the right colors and splatters, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But it is a fun technique. If you want to see how I put the whole card together, I will put up another video, a tutorial on how I did that using the cute little Halloween pup from Spellbinders. And by the way, I forgot to mention that the solution for the homemade sparkle using 91% alcohol, I use Perfect Pearls from Ranger in the clear sometimes. And this bottle, I think, is Duo Blue Green from Jacquard. And I think I've had this bottle for 25 years. When I first started crafting, I think I purchased this bottle and it's still half full. I mean, a little bit goes a long way. Try it. Thank you. See you in the next one.